Hello again, Glitch Reaper here. I'm back for another mob battle, and this time I kind of had an interesting idea. I'm going to have the Ratlantean Automaton from, well, the Rats mod go up against the various, well, so not just xenomorphs, but a few other things from the AVP mod. So, yeah. And after a little testing, I can certainly say that well, for one thing, let's just first say, why is it that all these spawn eggs for this have these wonderful 3D models that look like what you're just about to spawn? I mean, I know it's kind of logical in a way, but it's just like, they went a little all out for this, and this mod's still going actively in 1.12.2 when most have moved on to a higher version, so I don't know all the reasoning why. I just know that I'm here in 1.12.2 with these various aliens. Okay. Now, as I was going to say, I do know this guy is like the top slot. So Ethan is absurd. But I want to build up to him. Kind of as I kind of normally do. I like to start with ones I consider less strong and move upward. I might want to avoid over there because sentries have the habit of fighting anything nearby. So I'm going to go this way just slightly. Just a little slightly. I do have everything else set up right. Okay, I do. Now, they are so aggressive that I will not need to even use my mob battle stick. They will totally fight on their own. Now, the Ratlantean Automaton, you can see it's not only is it aggressive, it has a very long range when it starts off. I can, however, put something right in its way. Well, that was interesting, and it's just taking everything out with its big laser beam. So let's just put something else in its path. Namely a Praetorian. It does get a little poisoned, but we also have a couple other miscellaneous things in here. Believe it or not, the space jockeys and engineers in here are actually decently tough. Let me just put you right in the path of the beam there. Oh, and now there's another thing's dealing with the explosions. Okay. The thing about trimmers is they kind of are immune to explosions and or feed on them. Now, the space jockey is absolutely nailed, although they are pretty fast-paced. I gotta give them that. Starting off with over 100 hit points, they're not exactly small. Similar story for the engineers. They start for like 160. Right now, I'm letting them get mauled sequentially, just cause. And also showing off just how strong this thing really is, because it's kind of wither-like in its power level. Although it does switch style of attack. It goes to rapid melee swipes at point-blank range, and when it's farther out, it likes using its pulse gun, or pulse cannon. It's more of a pulse cannon. Anyhow, here, have a deacon. If I can shove it slightly in the way. You just move a little bit closer there. Oh, never mind, you recognize him. Again, both sides of this whole equation are very, very aggressive, so they will just go for it. Now that deacon, it has a bit more attack power than some of the other things, but still has a good amount of HP. And why did it go back? It just put itself right back into getting ranged. Okay, Ultramorph, anyone? Ultramorph? Extra big version of a Xenomorph? Okay, that's an interesting sound. It's like it's having a serious pipe problem. Okay, it was obstructed by the trimmer. It went around it. Okay, that's an interesting interference for you. Ultramorph is stronger and faster, and definitely tougher, but it's also, like the others, getting dismissed very quickly by the Ratlantean Automaton. Like, this robot is a serious combat droid. Now, we have the Predalien, otherwise known as the Yautja Xenomorph Hybrid. And this thing is also pretty crazy. I mean, 200 HP ain't small. Will you guys kindly get out of the way? I may need to get my my whacking stick a little quicker than I first thought here. So I may have to get rid of a few things in the way. But never mind, they found each other. It just got mostly just ranged. Maybe I should just give that another shot in closer range. Just to, you know. Round 2. You're a little closer in HP now. It's kind of interesting how most of them wind up poisoning the enemy. Ooh, bird right through the block of the S. Okay. It's still going. After all that, it's still just going. Would you like a normal queen rather than the Predalien version? Now, I might finally put a new automaton on the field after this, but yeah, I kind of had to see how many things it would go through before it finally stopped, but now I'm going to reset that with it actually starting out one-on-one rather than it taking down an entire team of everything prior. I think just wants to just start immediately, doesn't it? Again, very, very aggressive. And that goes for both of them, so yeah. Totally did not need to use a mob battle stick. Might add, these Xenomorph Queens have 300 HP. That is the same as a wither, folks. However, I'm pretty sure the automaton with this is going to take it out one-on-one. Now, if it decides to zip around a bit, it might get ranged a few times, but we'll see about that. Goodbye, Queen. This shows just how much more powerful these really are. This is kind of ridiculous. Now, before I move on to Ethan here, I would like to also show off a Berserker Yautja. So, the stronger, tougher, crazier version of the Predator. Did I get a cluster? Did I just randomly... I'm pretty sure I just hit that once. Does this, like, randomly spawn groups? Some of them like to jump around. Okay, I think it randomly spawns groups. They might actually take it down as a group. Let me try using this thing a few times and see if it just randomly spawns groups. Because I've had a few of these other spawn items do this. At least in testing, it happened at least once. Is this just random number? Okay, there's one. There's one. There's one. There's one. And can I just get a group to randomly show up, or can I just finally do the one-on-one stopping this way? Why does it to randomly just do a whole group once in a while? Not sure about that. Maybe it's just a random glitch. Is they're supposed to normally do it this one? That's kind of the way I was wanting it in the first place. Let's try that again. This time without them being in range. Oh, it switched really fast. Like, this thing does prioritize on something closer. want to jump around there? Hey, Predator, can you pounce? It would be really cool if you were to pounce before you got, you know, eliminated by... Sorry, too late. Like that, I also need to do one of these. How did that shot go that way? Did one of them that I had previously did just shoot past me? Or was I just at the wrong angle? I'm not sure what just happened there. I could have sworn one of those shots came from the opposite direction. Okay, anyhow, last big one here. Should be the big one themselves, Ethan. And for extra something, I'll give this a very long distance in between. Or at least that was the plan. Okay, now it's trying to home on that one too. Oh, it's trying to... Okay, the automaton is trying to gun it down in the sky. is just trying to shoot it out of the air. It's like, hey, I'm over here. Okay, it still found it though. Okay, he's got a really long aggro distance if he's been hit. So, trying to super range Ethan will not work, apparently. That's interesting, a part of my research. So, if you try to bow Ethan from a very great distance, it will still find you. You will not be outside its aggro radius if you hit it from a great distance. So, this has been interesting research here. Because I was trying to see if I could get a lot of distance, if it would just be blasted by the automaton or not. Okay, now it's walking away, and then gets blasted. Okay. Now I'll try this again at closer to normal range in a moment to show the difference. But yeah. Apparently, if you've gotten Ethan at a very long range, it will still find you. That was super narrow. That was super narrow. And it started out with the advantage on the automaton, and it still came out on top. Barely, but the fact is it still did it. It still did it. I mean, these things are actually pretty high tier. So I'm going to do that at a closer range this time to show the rather decided difference between them in terms of startup. Like, I'm just going to put you fairly close. That's it being just only a small distance in between. Not like super range, but a small distance in between. Now note the difference here. I've tested this before. You gotta admit, it's an interesting fight regardless. The automaton definitely has the cooler attack animations. It swings around with its melee weapon. It actually aims first before firing. And it's very articulated. Now, this is pretty articulated too, but I mean, could it be more scratch-like? Slash attack maybe, or something like that? Probably. That was hilariously close too, but not as close as it was the last time. But Ethan still has 34 HP. He still has 34 HP. But that does show how ridiculous it is if it can take something that strong down. In fact, I'm pretty sure this thing can take down a Wither. So, yeah, and it flies. It does fly. So, yeah, all that craziness, and it flies. Yeah, that's a thing that's happening. You get a big flying crazy monster out of the middle of nowhere, and you're just like, could you please not just dive bomb out of the sky on top of me? So yeah, that'd be a thing to look out for if you were anywhere near that. So good luck with that if you're trying to hunt that down, for whatever reason. So yeah. Anyhow, these guys didn't really have that crazy of a time. Although, to go out, I am kind of curious. If I just drop an Ethan in the middle of this crowd that I made before when trying to find out if there was that multiplicity problem, what would happen? Because this does kind of have factions. Okay, now they're actually jumping it. I mean, this is just a spontaneous idea that this was totally unplanned. Just let the Ethan go up against, like, however many Youches this is. Like, is this, like, at least 20 of them? Maybe. I did put down a lot of spawn eggs trying to figure out if they did that random group thing. It is just going through this crowd. And the jump attacks are not helping as much as you'd think. Although it does seem that they prefer to fight on the ground and not flying. They're doing some damage to it. It's almost gone. So it cannot handle just an absolute force of Youches. So if Youches got serious and came in mass, then yeah, they could do that. Okay, so they can take down an Ethan. It just takes a lot of them. Okay, okay. So that so you wouldn't want to be anywhere near that crowd. Okay, yeah. So normally I'd stand next to the victor, but since the model is so good for the spawn item, it's just kind of easier to do it this way. That was interesting, and it certainly showed that Ethan is also a very powerful opponent. In addition to the Ratlantean Automaton also being a strong opponent, and they are actually pretty close to each other in strength. Pretty close. Not quite, but pretty darn close. So maybe in the future I could figure a few things out with that too, and I've already kind of got a few interesting ideas involving kind of going back to this version with mob battles and doing a few other things with the AVP mod, so that's gonna be something. Meanwhile, this has been Glitch Reaper. I'll be logging off. Hope to hear from you all later. And remember, there will be more Bob... darn those. There will be more mob battles. Goodbye for now, everybody.